Welcome back to another episode of the O'Shea Vlogcast. I'm back here with two esteemed guests. Both need no introduction. When you see the Mode 1 in the background, you know! Boom! You know who it is. You know who it is. That's Allan Roger Currie. Excellent author, excellent everything. I'll be trying to find spelling errors in the articles. I have not found one. I'll be trying like, y'all got any checks? Niggas good. What's going on, Allan?
Hey man, I'm cool, man. Just got back from LA once again. That's like my second home. And yeah, just handling my business, marketing my books and audiobooks and writing articles for, as Obsidian says, the Black Juggernaut, the Negro Manosphere.
All right. Oh yeah, yeah. You were definitely Monday columnist, and we have our Sunday columnist. He's on here like every 5 minutes. Every time I log on, he on here with me. So that is the great Mumia Obsidian Ali. Welcome back, also, brother.
Yes! Once again, back is the incredible Mumia Obsidian Ali, chopping it up with my man O'Shea Duke Jackson and Allan Roger Currie of Mode 1! Fame, suck it, bitches!
This is why you cannot give niggas money. This is a serious. Niggas get money, they do shit like that, and it's always fucked up at the end, But glad to have you brothers back. Actually, so what we're gonna do is Obsidian is joining in, Allan. So we have Allan's topic that we're gonna leave toward the end. And what we're going to do now, I think Obsidian wanted to kind of lead off and talk to Allan Roger Currie a little bit about some more things. So what we're going to do is kind of let Obsidian kind of do his thing for right now, and I'll just kind of chime in. But we will do the alpha male versus beta male. So you guys want to make sure you wait on that. But we're going to kind of do things a little bit different today and talk to Allan Roger Currie about some other things as it relates to male and female relationships. So go ahead, Obsidian. You wanted to talk to Allan, so go ahead and do that.
Yes, sir. Now, me and Allan, we always talk behind the scenes, and we always commiserate with each other, things like that. Right now, we got a really great deal. It's only for Obsidian Radio listeners. You have to go over to my channel to know what that deal is with regard to the newly released and updated and revised edition of Mode 1. Again, if you want to know what that deal is, go over to my channel. I announce it all this month. There's only a special deal for my listeners aged 18 to 35 only. So I just want to put that out right quick. Now, Allan, there's been a lot of things going on with you ever since you got your new YouTube channel. That will be author Allan Roger Currie. For those who don't know, you can find it here on YouTube, author Allan Roger Currie. Currie spelled Currie, not like Steph Curry, or Allan Roger Currie. And there's been a whole lot of things that have been going on with you since you just started your channel. Things have been fast moving, a lot of things going on. You've been dropping in a very short period of time, not even 2 weeks. You've been dropping some serious truth bombs of videos ranging in length from anywhere from 15 minutes to over an hour, sometimes 3 times a week. And this is a big comeback for you from, retiring from your long and illustrious career over at Blog Talk Radio, Upfront and Straightforward. Allan Roger Currie ran for nearly a decade. So if you could catch us up between, why you retired from Blog Talk Radio and why you got back on YouTube, we could start there and then go from there.
Number one, I just felt like my show had ran its course. I did 9 seasons. I started in June of 2008, and I ran through June of 2016. So, yeah, I would say that was factor number one. I just, felt like it ran its course. Secondly, my schedule was starting to get a little busier with a lot of one-on-one dating coaching sessions, which require a lot of travel on my part. And so, yeah, I didn't feel like I was going to have the time to continue to do my show. And most interesting fact, in my last 2 seasons, women were my female guests, because I started off trying to have a balance between male guests and female guests. But a lot of women were starting to respectfully decline my invitation because they realized that I was too real. See, because a lot of women, I hate to generalize women, and in the defense, I would say I've had some female guests that were very real, very authentic, and they were willing to respond to any question that I asked them. So I'll put that out there first. But there's a lot of other female guests that would come on my show anticipating what I call fluff questions. You know, so Linda, how do you help guys find their soulmate? Please tell me, you know, those simple type questions. And, you know, they would tell me stuff like, well, Allan, I listened to some of your past, and you've like made women masturbate on air, and you talk to them about fellatio, and that would ruin my brand. My brand is just not in line with that. And so anyway, another thing, and I mentioned this on one of my recent video podcasts. In that last season or 2, I had these format called my open discussion formats.
Right.
And I would share a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and insight with my listeners, which of course for them was a very good thing. But people close to me, they was like, bruh, you're giving away too much free shit, man. And sure enough, I noticed it in my sales. Like there was a stretch in fall of 2015 where like my ebook sales were dipping, my audiobook sales were dipping, my consultation purchases were dipping. And I did one episode where I just like admonished all my listeners, and I recently did that on I'm saying that because again, most people video podcasts, most people, if they got a choice between getting something for free and paying for something, of course, they're going to choose getting something for free. But
let me stop you right there, Allan, because I want to jump in on that point because this is very important. I'm glad you mentioned this. This is very important. You know, there's a big, and you know this because you're in the industry itself, there's a burgeoning dating coach for men industry over the past decade in particular. The pickup artist industry has really taken the world by storm. And there has been an explosion of dating coaches for men. And many of these coaches do very well for themselves, financially speaking. Quite a few make very, very good living. I'm talking, you know, well into the 6 figures per annum, you know, with their various products and services. And God bless them for it. I think that's great. And clearly men are purchasing what they feel has value. Now, why do I bring this to you? I'm just going to put it right on the table. I think what you're doing with Mode 1 is a godsend. I think the fact that you're catching so much flack over the target, to use a military term, proves that, you know, the efficacy of what it is that you're doing. I want to talk to you about that. That very much ties into our discussion about alpha males and beta males later on in the hangout. And I just want to put this across to black men. You know, name me another brother who was out there doing what he does, not for men in general, but in this case, black men in particular, who is on par with or exceeding Allan Roger Currie. Name somebody who is accessible. Name as somebody who is as willing to put his neck on the line for what he believes and doesn't walk away back from it. You know, name somebody who is willing to stand up for what he believes in, and name somebody who is as affordable as Allan Roger Currie. I just said at the top of this hangout right now over on my channel. I'm not going to do it here because this is O'Shea's channel. Over on my channel right now, when you listen to any of my podcasts, it's going to be running all this month. there's a special going on that Allan Roger Currie authorized me to do on my site, on my channel, especially for the younger guys. You know what I mean? To get his material and whatnot at very affordable cost. I defy anybody listening right now, be it live or later in the archives. I'm going to repost this on my channel. No matter where you hear it on planet Earth, I ask anybody, name another brother in the dating coach industry. Brothers are already in short supply in the dating coach industry to begin with, number one. But name another brother who is doing all these things for men in general, black men in particular, like Allan Roger Currie. My point, you need to be supporting this brother. Bottom line, you need to be supporting him. You need to. It's that simple. If black men want a better quality of life, you get what you pay for. It's that simple. I mean, bottom line. Right now, Allan Roger Currie is back on YouTube. He's got a Patreon channel up right now. You can head on over to it. If O'Shea would be so kind as to put up the link to Allan Roger Currie's Patreon channel, I appreciate that. Head on over, man. Become a Patreon channel subscriber to Allan Roger Currie on his channel. The man is dropping some serious truth bombs, which we're going to be talking about in today's hangout. Black men need to be supporting this brother, straight up. I'm just going to put it straight on the table. And while I still got control of the mic, I want to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, Allan, your departure from Blog Talk Radio kind of coincided with another situation that never materialized, and that's very important to today's topics of discussion and line of questioning that I have for you. If you wouldn't mind, would you mind going a little bit into the background of the events surrounding your departure from Blog Talk Radio and what was planned and then never ultimately came to fruition?
Oh, you must be referring. I was going to have a collaboration with a woman named Katie Costner. And for those people watching, listening, I hear myself. Where'd that go?
Oh, go ahead and try it now.
Okay. Yeah, Katie Costner, her claim to fame is, I would say that the concept of date rape has always existed, you know, probably for decades, if not centuries, but nobody had actually used that term in a manner that would made it real public and mainstream until this young lady named Katie Costner was featured on the cover of Time magazine, I want to say in either 1990 or 1991. And she became like the face of date rape. And so now fast forward, she got in contact with me because she wanted to be a guest on my show to talk about this organization she leads up that's basically helps college campuses and high schools become more aware of, as she calls it, the rape culture. And when I interviewed her and two of her colleagues on my show, she liked what I had to say about Mode 1. And she felt like Mode 1 could be used to actually prevent date rape. Because before I go on, if people are familiar with Mode 1, see, there's a phrase I use that a lot of guys try to sneak into the pussy. And I don't try to sneak into the pussy. I tell women straight up I want the pussy. And like even
that would be classified as Mode 2 behavior, am I right?
Yeah, Mode 2, Mode 3 is even more so you're trying to sneak. Like, say, for example, a guy meets a woman and his first objective is to get her drunk and take advantage so that all her mental faculties are not working for her. See, and going back to Katie Costner, using that scenario, that's a scenario where you could be setting yourself up for a date rape charge. Because a woman can easily say, I didn't give you consent to fuck me. You got me drunk, and you basically took advantage of it. And
now what I do, I'll tell you what I do. See, my version, see, I'm your evil twin, Allan. See, I'm Mode 1 on steroids. See, what I do is I tell a woman, not only is my intention for you to be sucking my dick in my big mirror where I can watch my dick slide in and out of your mouth and watch that shit, and then bend you over my couch and just ride you until I bust a huge splendiferous nut all over your ass. I also want to get you shit-faced drunk. That's the plan. Come on my crib, I'll get you shit-faced drunk, and then I fuck the shit out of you. Are you down or not? So I tell a woman straight up, but I'm planning to do it.
So
she knew that right from the rip.
You're gonna get her drunk before you fuck her.
Oh yeah, I'll tell her absolutely. I'll apply you with all kinds of Patron. What's your flavor? Patron? You want Merlot? You want vodka? I mean, what do you want? Some margaritas? You want a mojito? I'll make you a mojito. I'll make you a mojito and then bust a huge splendiferous nut all over your ass.
Splendiferous, I love that term. Yeah, I mean, well, then that wouldn't be sneaking in because if you're telling a woman you're gonna get her inebriated, then she has to consent to allowing you to get her.
Exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, going back to Katie, anyway, she was impressed with the Mode 1 philosophy, and she said she has like a roster of speakers that go to various high schools across the country, various college campuses, and they basically give various presentations centering on the idea of preventing compromising situations for men and preventing date rape incidences for women. And so she wanted to recruit me, but I'm not going to get into too much detail because I don't want to risk disparaging this young lady, Ms. Costner. But let's just say things didn't work out. I was supposed to be going on tour.
Things just didn't work. I don't want to put you out there like that, but things just didn't work out. Here we have a woman whose entire career is built on the notion that date rape is real, that we need to do everything we can to curtail it, that men need to control their impulses and urges and respect the woman's autonomy and boundaries, and no means no. And she requested to come on your show because she liked what you had to say about the Mode 1, which is really a kind of form of radical honesty approach with women. Y'all set up these dates, these tour dates to go across the college campuses, and for some inexplicable reason, they just didn't work out.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. I anticipated it, to be honestly, over the summer. I have a little voice I listen to, let's say, quite frequently. And my little voice said, they ain't gonna work out. And her formal reason was, well, technically she says, the last time I communicated with her, that I'm not completely off the table, but the last interactions we had, she said she was having problems marketing me. Defense. She did warn me. She said, Allan, when I begin various college campuses, do a very thorough CIA level background check on you.
Right.
And if you have anything on Google that hints that you're a very, controversial type of guy, provocative type guy. And I told her, I said, well, I have a show called The Erotic Conversations where I have women playing with their pussy on air. So they surely they're going to find those links. And if that's something that leaves them unsettled, then surely that's going to be a red flag for me. And she said, okay, I appreciate you telling me that up front.
Okay.
And I just let her know. I let her know I don't have any type of background related to sexual assault or a battery against women, anything that's related to, assaulting women. So in that respect, I knew I was clean. But in terms of, I'm not a PG-13 conversationalist.
Right.
I mean, I can be if I absolutely need to be. I've given presentations like 2007. I gave a presentation in front of a church-based abstinence group.
Right.
Those women love me. And I was talking about Mode 1. I just didn't use any like profanity or XXX rated language, but I still was talking about Mode 1.
Right.
And these older women, they love the brother. But anyway, yeah, Katie, she said she was having some challenges marketing me to different high schools, and I took that as code for they probably found out about Erotic Conversations or some of my interviews on Blog Talk Radio, saw how spicy they were and sexually explicit. They were like, oh shit, this dude gonna come on our campus and have women play with their pussies in the audience or something. So
now let me jump in. Let me jump in because I know you're in a very sensitive position. So I want to put this out there right now for the live stream right now, as well as the archive episodes later that appear on our channels. What I'm about to say is speaking for Mumia Obsidian Ali. I am not speaking for Allan Roger Currie in any way, shape, form, or fashion. He is not liable for what I'm about to say. I speak for myself. You got a problem with me, you know how to find me. Here's what I think, Allan. See, I think that the lady in question, and I think that the vast majority of women today don't want the truth. They don't want to know that the man that's talking to him is talking to him because he wants to have him bent over his fucking couch. That's why. He's not really interested in all this other, small talking bullshit. See, a lot of women really don't like that. You know why? Because it completely destroys any delusions of grandeur and hope that they have. In the year 2017, men simply don't need women like that other than for pleasure purposes. That's the truth. And a lot of women can't handle that truth. And see, you going to a college campus and telling the fellas, hey, look, fellas, we don't need all the frat house keggers and stuff like that. Just be upfront and straightforward with a woman. Do you realize how many women would never?
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
They'll never be princess for a day, queen for a day. You know how many women that would completely destroy any chance of them having that Disneyland experience. I am not Walt Disney. If you want a Walt Disney experience, go to Disneyland. That's my take on it. Go back to you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've known that now for probably like 20 years. I mean, there's so much that would change. Like, I remember I was dating this woman. This was years ago. And she said, Allan, what would be your ultimate objective with Mo One? How do you think it would impact society? And she thought I was going to give a simple answer. I gave her literally a document, the Microsoft Word document, with how I saw how Mo One would modify society, certain things it would eliminate and just delete and fuck up. And her mind was blown. She was like, damn, I never realized just something as simple as upfront, straightforward honesty would have the potential to modify society to that degree. I was like, very much so. And a lot of it relates to what you just said. I mean, because all these men are walking around here in society, man, they know that most of the women, the only exception would be if a man meets a woman that he possibly wants to raise children with, then yeah, he's going to want something deep and profound with that woman. But the realistic truth of the matter is, most women we meet that we're physically attracted to, we just want to fuck. We just want to fuck. I mean, like, perfect example, the original Mo One. A lot of my own frat brothers, and my frat brothers know I love them to death, so I don't want to take a swipe at my own frat. But when I was in college, most of my frat brothers didn't believe you could be upfront and straightforward with women. To have casual sex with them. The main belief is similar to how a lot of these pickup artists is, which is you mislead her into believing that you want something long-term, monogamous, and emotionally profound. And then once you get the ass a few times, you just dump the woman. That was at least a good number, my percentage of my frat brothers' way of getting casual sex. And I was the first one to say, no, man, you can just tell women straight up you want to fuck them. They was like, come on, Al, you'll get slapped, man. You have a drink thrown in your face. You'll get cursed out, man. You can't just walk up to a woman and let them know that all you want to do is fuck them casually. Are you kidding? And I was like, why not? And they was basically like, show me. Don't tell me, show me, motherfucker. And I showed them. Next thing, I had frat brothers calling me the legend and shit. They was like, man, Allan's the fucking legend. This is my man Allan right here. He the legend, man. He'll meet a woman at 5 o'clock, and by 5:03, he telling her he want to slide his dick in her mouth. And
yep.
But I ain't got time to do all that game playing and shit, man. But yeah, it would just so dynamically change so many interactions between men and women, man. Oh man, see, like right now, dude, I could go on a million segues and we could have a 15-hour hangout, but of course I won't do it.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. But let me ask you. Let me bring you up to speed on your current situation on YouTube. You recently had a very interesting exchange with some would consider famous, many would consider quite outspoken and controversial one, Miss Francesca Ramsey. Could you give us a brief background on that and what happened with that situation and what happened in its aftermath?
Yeah, well, this ties in with the subject we're going to get into deeper a little later is alpha males and beta males. Francesca Ramsey, for you watching right now, you watching YouTube. Oh, and you had asked me, I think one question I want to answer, you asked me what made me get on YouTube, is the brother from Poland in this conversation, O'Shea. I had actually had a few people suggested for a while, but probably in the last few months, I remember me and O'Shea were talking. He was almost admonishing me for not being on YouTube. He was like, why aren't you doing YouTubes, man? Why aren't you doing it? I was like, oh, you guys are holding it down. He's like, yeah, fuck us, man. Why you ain't doing it though, man? He was like, you're a content creator, man. He's like, anybody who's a content creator should be doing YouTube pretty regularly, if not every day, at least once a week or something. But yeah, I was thinking he really was over. He's like, dude, man, just at least try it out, man. If you don't like it, then stop doing the shit. Yep. But at least try it out. So I said, fuck. That's what I was going to do. But Francesca Ramsey, for those not familiar, she's I don't really watch MTV too much like I used to when I was younger. I don't know if too many people do, but she's a personality on MTV. Matter of fact, in doing my research on her, she, I guess, got invited. She got an opportunity to have her own show on Comedy Central. So she's going to be doing her show on Comedy Central. So she's rising up to the next level. And on MTV, she has a show called Decoded, where she gives social commentary about different things. And it's kind of real quick and to the point. It's never too long. Right. And one of my followers sent me this video, because I always have followers of mine who send me different things and they'll ask for my opinion on it. And somebody said, Allan, I know you've talked about what's known as the bull cuckold hot wife arrangement, as well as you talked about alpha males and beta males. I would like you to watch this video if you don't mind and tell me what's your thoughts. So I watched it. In the video, she starts off talking about the term cuckold. And I'll quickly, I always like to assume that there's people listening who might not be familiar with terminology I'm using. A cuckold, the formal definition of a cuckold would be a married guy whose wife is cheating on him. And he's basically like the last motherfucker to find out. So like say all the guys in the neighborhood is banging his wife, and he's almost literally the last one to find out that all the guys in the neighborhood is banging his wife. A more specific formal definition of a cuckold is a guy who's married, or he might be unmarried, just in a long-term relationship, and gets pregnant by another guy, son or daughter, if this is variation of cuckold relates to the world of BDSM, which I'm familiar with. It kind of blends elements of BDSM and polyamory. And there's this arrangement known as the bull hot wife cuckold. And that's basically a situation where a woman who's what's known as a BDSM switch, meaning she can be dominant with some partners and extremely submissive with other partners. She'll have one or more bulls who she submits to, which I've been a bull in that arrangement. And then she'll have another dude that's like could be a husband, could be a long-term boyfriend. He financially he acts like a sugar daddy, and he's just real submissive. He's a bitch, basically. He's a bitch, and he actually gets off on being treated like a bitch. And anyway, so going back to Francesca, she was talking about the origins of cuckold, which I want to say just about everything she said was on point. I can't say I disagree with any of her definition of it, description of it. Then she transitioned from cuckold to talking about beta males. And her criticism was that the term beta male is used by men to insult other men and make them feel bad about themselves and undermine, their self-esteem. And that's where I began to have issues, because I disagree with that. And since you're talking to me, Obsidian, I'm going to compare it to the way you use spinster, with Miss Thang. Some people can listen to that and say, well, yeah, Obsidian's, he's definitely insulting her by calling her a spinster. But the reality is, if you're past a certain age and you've never been married and you don't have any kids, you are a spinster. That's just what you are. And, people can say that.
Just like we both married.
Yeah, and see, that's how I feel about beta males. Is I don't use. I guess I could if I wanted to, but I don't necessarily use the term beta male to insult a man, but more so to help him. Like with my clients, I help them identify where their mindset is at. And so anyway, I made a comment to her on Twitter, and then she made a comment back. And then her followers start coming at me real hard. The White Knights came out. Captain Saberhose came out. The hardcore feminists came out.
Which kind of proves your point, doesn't it?
Basically.
And, I mean, that there is a such thing as a beta male.
Exactly. I mean, if a guy, a simple definition real quick, and again, we'll get into it later, but if you're a guy and you're always pandering to women, you allow women to heavily influence the way you behave towards them, and yeah, you just essentially, you have a very, at maximum, you have no backbone, or you have a very compliant form of backbone, then yeah, you're a beta male, man. You're always playing up to women. You're always defending them. Whereas an alpha male, generally speaking, is a guy who's his own man. His backbone is very strong, like steel. And he's going to act the way he fucking wants to act. He's going to say what the fuck he wants to say. Don't like it. He's like, fuck them. And the ironic thing is, because of the strength of his backbone, he typically gets more pussy than the average beta male, because women, even though they may complain about the fact that he's so uncompromising and what they might consider a dick, an asshole, a jerk, that shit turns them on. And that's what I help my clients who are beta males realize, is that, a lot of these beta males think by playing up to women, they're going to motivate them more to get them in bed. But women don't want a guy who they can run circles around. They'll use your ass. They'll exploit your ass, but they're not genuinely into you. So anyway, yeah, she ended up banning me from her Facebook page. I start commenting on her Facebook because she highlighted me on her Facebook page. And of course, if somebody highlights me, I'm gonna go and say something. And but it just tripped me out that her followers were coming at me with all these ad hominem attacks and straw man arguments and shit. And instead of just sticking to the issue, I even had some guy, he's some notable guy on some AMC show, tried to suggest, he referred to my behavior as toxic masculinity. And I was basically like, motherfucker, please. You fucking white knight. So anyway, yeah, man, bless her heart. If she gets successful with her Comedy Central. But here's my point on my last point on her and her ilk. Is a lot of times I would say women can't handle the truth. I talked about this again in one of my video podcasts. But along with that, and sometimes even more so than that, is not so much women can't handle the truth. Women don't want the truth exposed. And that's the main point I made on her Facebook page that calls her to ban me. I said, a lot of you women, you don't want beta males to consciously be aware that they're beta males. You don't want beta males to be consciously aware of the existence of what I refer to as a manipulative time waste.
Mm-hmm.
Guys to be conscious personalities in pandering ways. They don't want guys to be consciously aware of that shit. But here's the real deal, though. The irony of it all. Most of these motherfuckers who play up to women when they're in their teens, 20s, 30s, usually, once they get into their late 30s and 40s and they fucking off all their life and they ain't getting no pussy from these women, these are the motherfuckers who become your most bitter misogynists. It ain't the guys who are womanizers that women are referring to as misogynists. No motherfucker who love pussy or misogynist. It's these guys who initially played up to women, came over their house on Thursdays and Fridays, went bowling with them and all that shit. That them same women going over to O'Shea's house and sucking his dick.
Right. So you're basically talking about Elliot Rodger types. Those are the guys that would be murderous, misogynists, and whatnot.
Exactly.
I'm getting a feedback.
Ain't nobody who's getting his share of pussy that's going to be angry enough to pick up a gun and go out and just shoot some random women. I mean, the only time you really going to usually find somebody that's like, say, a ladies' man or womanizer that might go that far to commit violence, it's going to be a woman he was in a real intimate relationship with, like his ex-wife who he felt divorced him unfairly, or his ex-girlfriend did something. But just a random woman that he don't know, no, those are motherfuckers who ain't getting laid. And they pissed about the fact that they ain't getting laid.
Right. Let me jump in real quick and just give my quick take on Francesca Ramsey and what happened with you, and then we can discuss the aftermath with regard to you and Facebook. Now, my thinking is this: I know who she is. I wish her well. I bear no ill will to her or anything like that. Personally, I don't see what all the hype is. My understanding is that she's a comedy writer and comedian, and in my opinion, it's just my opinion, not a very good one on either count. Nevertheless, she has the right to her opinion. That's fine with me. It seems to me the issue here isn't her take on the whole cuck thing. It seems to me her issue is the fact that by definition, a lot of women can't implement the dual track mating strategy out in the open. Very few women can do that. The vast majority of women, that's what cuckold really means. The term cuckold, coming from the cuckoo bird, the term cuckold means to use subterfuge. You know what I mean? You have to be deceptive. You know, you can't say, okay, I'm going to get, pregnant. Mary's going to get pregnant by Steve, who is the quote alpha male. But Harry, since you're the beta male, I want you to take care of it because you have all the non-sexual traits and qualities that I want. So what I want to do is I want to get with Steve, who has all the sexual qualities and the good genes. And then I want you, Harry, with all the non-sexual qualities. And I don't want your genes, but I want you to invest in the baby that I make with Steve. I mean, if that was the case, then by definition, that couldn't be a cuckold. For one thing, there's no subterfuge involved. There's no deception. All parties have, with their full knowledge and given consent, which I find ironic since Francesca Ramsey and so many other, women like her, feminists and the like, and their male allies, place so much emphasis on consent. But in this case, they kind of go apoplectic by simply noting the fact that, listen, what you're talking about here, guys being, denigrated for being betas or whatever, whether you agree with that or not, the point is that cuckoldry by its very definition is a female tactic of mating deception. It came from the cuckoo bird, who themselves use deception. Evolutionary biologists and scientists and all the rest of it have documented throughout the animal species that cuckoldry takes place, and it is because females are duping males into caring and expending their resources on the offspring of other males they've chosen to mate with.
Well,
so if a woman and two men decide to enter into that arrangement with full foreknowledge and consent, then in my humble opinion, that's not a cuckold, because by definition, a crucial aspect of cuckolding is deception on the part of the female. Because let's be clear, a lot of the so-called alpha males, if you will, they don't even know that they got children with these women. A lot of instances, it's unaware to them. So that's the problem that I have with Francesca Ramsey. Not that she has her opinion of what she thinks of guys who use cucks and she uses it in a racial context or whatever. That's her opinion. That I'm fine with that. The problem I have with her and the problem I have with people like her is that they refuse to acknowledge what I refer to as female fuckery. That is to say, the dark side or the underbelly of female mating psychology and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem I have with it. You cannot cuckold a man without using deception. By very definition, deception is involved in cuckolding.
Well, where I would disagree
your opinion?
I would disagree with you as it relates to the world of BDSM. Women who recruit cuckolds in the BDSM world, they are straight up about it. They're very straight up.
Right. And that's the problem that I have with the practice, is that they're using the term incorrectly. A cuckold means a man is taking care of the offspring of another man unbeknownst to him. That's what a cuckold is.
Well, yeah, that's why I said there's a formal definition, then there's kind of what I would call an informal definition. So I would say this, in regard to the formal definition, then yes, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. That is what the formal definition is of a cuckold. And a more, what I would call casual, informal definition of it is where there's not necessarily deception involved, when a guy is basically volunteering to be a woman's bitch and take care of another man's kid and that sort of thing. So yeah, you kind of got two versions of it. But yeah, formally, yeah, it's a man who he's usually unaware that he's taking care, or after she gives, or soon after she gives birth, and he reluctantly decides to go ahead and hear that other man's son or daughter.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, but again, man, go ahead.
Now going back to the BDSM piece, my problem with that is that it's not an accurate use of the terminology. If a woman wants to have a certain type of sexual arrangement with her primary partner and they introduce another man into it, and that man gives his full knowledge and consent to that, that's not cuckolding. That's what that is. It's a threesome. It's a threesome because all parties know about it. All parties have agreed to it. Personally, I have no problem with it. And I think going back to Ramsey's point about males being denigrated, and she used it in a particular racial context, of which in the pornography world and BDSM world or whatever, there is a racial component going on here. Usually what happens in these quote unquote hot wife situations is that the couple is white and the bull male, if you will, is black. So there is a racial component. You can't get away from that. Whether that's right, wrong, good, or bad, it is what it is. The problem that I have with all of this is, see, merely being a beta male is bad. What I think is bad is when we don't acknowledge that these things exist and are naturally occurring in the real world. Again, this isn't something that just happens with humans. This is observed and seen and documented throughout the animal kingdom. You have alpha males and you have beta males. The problem is, again, as what you pointed out with Francesca Ramsey and what got her followers on a tizzy, and I'm going to ask you what happened in the aftermath of that, because I think that's very important to this discussion that we're having today about alpha males versus beta males, is her and her female and some male followers refusing to admit that beta males exist, one, and two, that females want beta males for their non-sexual companionship, assistance, support, resources. That's the problem. I got, like, for example, look at the whole situation with this just happened. They just had a baby, I think it was last week. Russell Wilson and Ciara. Now that was a huge thing a summer or two back, and on black social media, a lot of people were going back and forth. But they recently had a child, And a number of people were suggesting, a number of black men were suggesting that he was a kind of cuckold of sorts. I respectfully disagree. I think that Russell Wilson, with full foreknowledge and consent, entered into that relationship with Ciara. Now, we can agree or disagree with it, but nobody can say that he was duped. He knew what he was getting into. Your response?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that situation a true cuckold situation. No. Now, somebody's argued that he's beta, then I don't know if I could defend him on that. But cuckold, no, I mean, yeah, he's raising another man's son, but it's not like he was married to Ciara when Future got her pregnant.
Right.
So, in that sense, I legitimately call him a cuckold.
Right. Whether he's a simp or whatever, that's another debate. But a cuckold, no.
No.
Now, there's some interesting developments that happened after your whole thing with Francesca Ramsey on Facebook. Could you give us a little bit of background on that? What happened to you with regard to Facebook?
Oh, I already mentioned she banned me from her page, and that was about it to do with her. But then, separate issue, I posted something that this feminist wrote that I got from Twitter. So it wasn't even an article I wrote. I just posted something this woman wrote saying basically she was trashing feminism. And I had this woman, hey, she hates my post. She thinks I'm anti-feminism, anti-women. You know, she kind of hinted that she was going to report me, and I didn't take it serious at the time. But then next thing I know, I go to log into Facebook, and they say, we can't let you log in because you are under investigation. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and they basically, in their worded language, say, yeah, somebody had reported me for a distasteful post or whatever they called it. And they said until their investigation was complete, I would be locked out of my account. Now, in Facebook's defense, I'm sure, number one, they have to do a lot of things procedurally. And so they did that. And they did reactivate my account much quicker than I thought it was going to be this lengthy, like maybe week-long or 2-week-long investigation. But actually, in less than 24 hours after they locked me out my account, they reactivated. And they said they completed their investigation, and they found that none of my posts had violated their terms. I didn't have anything that was hate speech or anything like that. So they reactivated. But just the fact that this woman felt the need to call herself report me is just bullshit. Right. You know, I mean, a lot of these women, they just can't handle, again, when you got strong opinions, they can't handle when you exposing truth to, because see, the reality, if you guys listening don't realize, just want to recruit other women to back them up in their feminist agenda. Awful. They need these supplicating beta males to be defending them and white knighting them and use males to try to shame other males. And so they don't want a guy like me or say yourself or O'Shea influencing guys who are out there naive and willing to do everything without getting no pussy. Shit.
Well, you know, what I say, Allan, is, you know, see, the thing with me and the thing with you is that the reason why I think we get so much guff from society in general is because, you know, unlike a lot of people who I could name, I'm not going to name them right now, you know, we don't trifle in bullshit. We just simply use the truth. I mean, the truth is, I would tell any man, the single most powerful weapon you have in your arsenal is the truth. You don't need anything else. That is the motherfucking mother of all bombs. That is the Moab of this thing here, is the truth. You just dropped the truth. Me and you were just talking about what a beta male is and what an alpha male is. We're just talking about female nature in terms of mating psychology. You know, a lot of women don't want beta males to know the truth because a lot of women know that if a lot of beta males know going in what the deal is, they're not going to accept the deal. They don't want the deal. Why not? Why not give them the right to choose? Isn't that the whole point of feminism? To give women the right to choose what their own lives will be like? So let me get this straight. It's choices for me, but not for thee. It's choices for women, but not for men. Let men have the right to consent just like women. And if a man wants to be like a Russell Wilson, or a man wants to be like those guys in those porn videos with the hot wife, God bless them. Good on them. More power to them. But if they say, you know what, I don't really want to do this, no, thank you. What's wrong with that? Why is that a problem?
Of course. But women, I mean, we all know the reality. Manipulative women don't want men to feel like they got a choice. That's it right there. They don't want them to feel like they got a choice. So there you go. O'Shea, I saw you Gary say something a few minutes ago.
Yeah, let's bring in the discussion about the alpha males and the beta males. I'll hand it off to O'Shea at this point. Thank you, Allan.
Let me.
Oh, no problem.
And thank you, Obsidian, for coming on. I just wanted to get the likes up for everybody. Okay, and so I really appreciate everybody in here. Appreciate Obsidian for giving us the first part of the interview. Wow, 175 watching. So I really thank you guys. You're no stranger to this channel. So please, he said they left O'Shea's side. Yeah, on my own channel, huh? Just kick me up, nigga. Have me moderate my own shit. That's how Obsidian do it. Because Obsidian is the only nigga that will come on your shit and will make you a moderator on your own shit. Now, you know. Now imagine, listen to this, you guys. I'm thinking about, imagine somebody going to Tommy's channel and then kicking Tommy off his shit and make him a goddamn moderator. But you know what though?
No, that's not gonna happen. Tommy's
only
he's a stomp down dealer.
Oh, but the thing about it is, this the reason why we can do stuff like that is because that's how brothers working together. You know, when you don't have no ego, you can do that. You know, and I can't say tell you brothers to work with other people if you can't do that. I gotta practice what I preach, you know. So as long as the fans were enjoying it, didn't matter if I was talking or not. And that's the thing I try to get brothers to understand. You know, you sometimes it's okay for you to have the back seat, even on your own shit. Ain't no problem in that.
Oh, so,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna quickly ask you: do you ever watch Charlie Rose on PBS?
No. What's that?
Oh man, I love Charlie Rose, man. But you're actually very similar to Charlie Rose. One of the reasons why Charlie Rose is so popular among his fans is even though he's the host of his show, what he does is he just throws out a quick question here and he lets that guest just answer for as long as they want to answer. Then when they finish with that response, he throws out another quick question. And then they just, and he doesn't like try to dominate his guest. He just like throws out this question, that question. He lets them just go. And you're similar to him, man. I actually love that and respect that about you.
Oh man, thank you. What give a dark skinned nigga make you blush? That's hard to do when you're black. Listen, you guys, go ahead and like the video. And I just wanted to ask, and also today, I just subscribed to Allan Roger Currie on Patreon, and I'm gonna do the same thing for Mia Ali. So this is what we want to do. First of all, because Allan is coming by, he has a great channel. Allan been getting more views than me on this shit. Now I told him to come on here. I didn't tell him to come on here and embarrass me on YouTube. He came on here and YouTube and started getting all kind of views. Nigga, go back to writing, nigga. What the fuck? You making me look bad, bro. Can't be out here making me look like this. But Allan Roger Currie is getting more views on his channel, man, than I am on my 36,000 people channel. So that's kind of bad. So that just goes to show you that he's good at what he's doing. So let's go ahead and subscribe. Thank you, Devin McCoy, for the donation. Also, I wanted to shout out a few other people. Corey Eggleton donated. The brother Charles Gilmore, he says he knows you, Allan. He was a longtime listener of your show before. But what I'm going to do is, do you know who he is? He said he knows you.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
Okay. He must got a lot of money, man, because like every show in there get $20. I'm like, nigga, you selling dope? This nigga got all kind of money. I'm going to see where they hired at his job. Listen, let me ask both of you guys. I'm going to ask Allan first, but Allan, we talking about Russell Wilson.
Mhm.
And then you said he's not a cuckold, but you can debate if he's a beta male or not. Now, somebody wrote an article about, I think it was Donovan Sharp on the Negro Manosphere about why Sierra was going to cheat on Russell Wilson. But I kind of wanted to get your opinion on why he is or is not a beta male, and then I'm going to get Obsidian's opinion on it.
Well, it's like this. Matter of fact, I can say this is kind of going to be a preview of my next article on the Negro Manosphere.
Oh, shit.
What a lot of guys need to understand is that some people might look at just sex as sex, but if you want to get deep, it's really not. There's lustful sex. Matter of fact, the name of this article I'm writing for your site is called The 4 Types of Sex That Men Engage in with Women. And those 4 types of sex would be lustful sex, emotional/romantic sex, transactional sex, and coercive sex.
Mm-hmm.
Lustful sex is when you meet Linda and Linda just want to fuck you just because you get her pussy wet and you make her horny.
Mm-hmm.
She's not trying to get anything from you in exchange for a sexual companionship other than your dick. So that's what I call just pure lust sex.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have emotional/romantic sex. That's where a woman, her main drive to have sex with you is because she's developed an emotional bond with you. Mm-hmm. And she typically wants to spend time with you both sexually and non-sexually because she has that bond with you. You know, and particularly if y'all got kids together, she's going to have that bond with you. Third would be transactional sex. A simple example of that would be a prostitute, call girl, erotic escort, and her tricks. Or formerly they call them their clients, but in the streets they call those tricks. Or a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship. That's transactional sex. In other words, that woman would not be engaging in sex with that man if he wasn't putting money on the table, employment offers on the table, materialistic gifts on the table. She got to be benefiting in some kind of tangible way. And then the final and probably most disgusting form of sex is coercive sex. That would be rape, date rape, and any variation of those two. And so how this relates to the alpha male and beta male, typically a woman is only going to have that lustful type sex with a man she perceives to be an alpha male. Women don't have lustful sex with beta males because beta males just don't have what it takes to get their pussy wet like that. So when a woman just wants to fuck just to be fucking, 99.9% chance it's going to be a man who she, in her mind, perceives as an alpha male. Now, romantic sex can go both ways. A woman can have romantic sex with an alpha male, or she can have romantic sex with a beta male, depending on the nature of her relationship with either or and the bond that they've created emotionally. And along these lines, and this again, I'll be explaining this in the article, but a lot of people, once they read the article, they're gonna be like, "Oh man, you told her that shit on O'Shea Show." Shit, I ain't gonna read the article now. But a lot of times, I'm sure you've heard guys who might be married, and they'll say, "Man, I love my wife," and you'll say, "Well, then why are you fucking with these 3 women on the side?" It'd be like, "Oh man, that's just fucking." And see, a lot of women that have an adverse reaction to that. They'll say, "Oh, he doesn't really love his wife if he's fucking it." I'm one of those guys that disagrees with that. You can be deeply in love with your wife or girlfriend, but there's some people you just want to fuck to be fucking. That you have an itch that needs to be scratched. And the naive thing about men is that a lot of men don't seem to think that women operate like men. That's the big thing I notice among men. Like women know, for the most part, that men will have the type of woman they want to date and marry, and then have the kinky, freaky women on the side that they just want to fuck. Mm-hmm. But a lot of men I talk to, they'll think that all women are looking for relationship guys. And that's not true. Women are just, for all our differences between men and women, there's actually also a lot of similarities. And I know from my experiences, because I have a video podcast where I acknowledge that I've been a woman's other guy, the guy that she was cheating on her husband with, the guy that she was cheating on her fiance with, the guy she was cheating on a long-term boyfriend with, at least 3 dozen times in my life.
Wow.
So in the same way women say to guys, oh, you're just treating that woman like a piece of pussy. Well, guess what? There's women that treat guys like I've been treated like a piece of dick. Not that I necessarily had a problem with that. In a couple of instances I did, but exactly. Women will treat a guy like a piece of dick. You know, like the women who had me as an other man, they weren't looking to go to the movies with me and walk in the park holding hands. They would basically call me up when they were horny and they just wanted to get fucked. And so
let me get. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just to give my take on this whole situation with regard to Russell Wilson and all that. I agree with Allan. I mean, to me, a relationship is 2 parts: fucking and non-fucking. That's really what a relationship is. What you do, which are you fucking, and how are you fucking, and how frequently are you fucking, and then when you're not fucking, what you're doing. The simple truth of the matter is you don't need to be a scientist or anything like that. I mean, you just need to be a person that's lived for some degree of life on this planet for some time and just look around you. We all have been in ourselves or know people who've been in, or both, situations where, you know, basically all you have with another person is just good fucking. That's it. Yeah. And then we've all known people, or we've been there ourselves, where all you have with a person is good non-fucking. Great conversations, good times, laughs, you know, and all the rest of it. In my humble opinion, a relationship is when you have, you know, roughly equal parts. I'm not saying it has to be exactly 50-50, but roughly somewhat equal parts fucking and non-fucking. That's pretty much what it is. And I'll take it a step further and say that, to me, and I only speak for myself here, to me, love has nothing to do with fucking. Love has everything to do with non-fucking.
There you go.
You know, like being with your wife when she has a stroke and she can no longer care for herself, and you come home from working all day and you bathe her in the tub and feed her. That's love. Mm-hmm. Like my grandfather did for my grandmother before she died. That's love. Mm-hmm. Okay. Things like that. That's what love is. That ain't got nothing to do with fucking. And I think in our society, we have a very, what I call a Walt Disney type of mentality. No disrespect to Walt Disney, he was a great man, but we do have that kind of Walt Disney take on life, not just in regard to mating, but just life in general. I mean, we have a very naive and idealistic view with regard to these things. And I have a much more, I was forced to grow up young at a relatively early age. I lost my parents relatively early on. I was an adult, but a young adult. I lost a lot of other people in my life early on. I faced death myself, as recently as last year, on several times, things like that. So those experiences, lifted me out of any delusions I might have had about how the world really works. I just don't have any patience for, delusional bullshit. I just don't have any patience for it. I have no interest in it, no patience for it. A relationship is roughly equal parts fucking and non-fucking. And you can very much fuck people that you don't like otherwise. And you can very much not have any sexual interest in people that you really like otherwise. It's very possible. It's very common. And I'll say this finally, that, there's a very good book by Cindy Meston. She was a student of Professor David Buss. She is now a professor in her own right. I want to say she's at Tulane, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, Meston, Meston, Cindy Meston. You can find her here on YouTube, as a matter of fact. Her and David Buss giving a presentation together, among other things. She wrote a really good book called Why Women Have Sex. Allan Roger Currie suggested about half a dozen reasons why women do it. Actually, it's more like over 50. And they include things from transactional sex to love to revenge, just being bored, you name it. Women have sex for a whole lot of different reasons. And I know for some men, It never bothered me when I found it out, because it just only reiterated shit I already knew when I was a teenager. But for some men, particularly, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes here, but I'll just say it, particularly more sheltered, solidly middle class and upper middle class sheltered black men, you know, or men in general, not just black, it could come as a shock to them. But I always believe that it's better to live with an ugly truth than a pretty lie. And the simple truth is that there are a lot of good women out there who have a dark side to them. And that dark side has expression early and often in mating. Deception in mating is a feature, not a bug. Both sexes do it. It is documented throughout the animal kingdom. It's a fact. And what we're talking about here with regard to alpha males and beta males, the issue isn't whether they exist or not. The issue is whether women want men to know they exist, and do they want men to know that women need both. You know, Allan said something on his radio show that was so profound. I pretty much downloaded almost every episode he's ever done. I don't have all of them, but I have the majority of them. I downloaded them and keep them on my computer. And one day he said on one of his radio shows, matter of fact, it was during one of your infamous open phones discussions, Allan. You said a lot of guys get it twisted and think that women only want alpha males. That's not true. Women want both because they need both. Okay.
Yeah. When I've done speaking engagement with guys, I tell guys that, because I always get this question from guys, either from clients or potential clients that say, Allan, you know, why do women prefer bad boys over nice guys? Or why do they seek out the womanizer over the monogamy-minded guy? Why do they want this guy, the alpha male, over the beta male? And I say, and I'll give them a look like, what are you talking about? I don't know if you guys are big sports fans, but years ago, I'm dating myself, but Deion Sanders at one point was a hot property in the NFL. And he helped the San Francisco 49ers win a Super Bowl. And he only stayed there 1 year, and Jerry Jones recruited him to come to the Dallas Cowboys. And he helped them win. And so one of his endorsement deals was Pizza Hut. And there was this entertaining commercial, it's probably on YouTube, with Jerry Jones talking to Deion Sanders, and he says, so Deion, I'm glad you're here in Dallas. What do you want to play, offense or defense? And Deion simply says, both. He says, what you want to play, wide receiver or cornerback? Both. You want to run kickoff returns or punt returns? Both. And that was the theme of the commercial. And anyway, that's how women are with the whole, again, alpha male versus beta male, or nice guy versus womanizer, whatever you want to, delineations you want to put out there. Yeah, women don't want just one type of motherfucker. They want a guy for almost every need they have, particularly, and see, this is what guys don't realize about the impact of feminism. See, prior to feminism, and I specifically say the second wave of feminism, the way society was, women almost had, there was of course exceptions here and there, but women almost had to look for the total package. They had to look for a guy who had a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, some degree of sex appeal, earning power, entertaining personality, good with kids, you know, all that wrapped up in one bundle. Like you'll see things for like cable where they'll say, we're going to give you a bundle. But see, what women did when they put the second wave of feminism in effect and start just gladly fucking outside the context of marriage, they no longer needed that total package anymore. So what the situation guys need to understand now is that if a woman just needs a guy to go bowling with on Thursdays, she can find that guy. If a woman just needs a guy to talk to on the phone for X number of hours per week, she can find that guy. If a woman just wants her pussy licked and that's it by one guy, she can find that guy. If she wants a guy to just slap her ass, pull her hair, and treat her like just a nasty, dirty slut, she can find that guy. She can compartmentalize in many different ways. And that's what men need to understand. But as you said or alluded to, Obsidian, here's the thing. Most women, just damn near all of women, they're not going to be upfront and straightforward with men about that. They're not going to say, okay, Brian, I just want you to be the entertaining friend, and I just want you to be my financial favorite guy, and I just want you to be, when I want to complain about shit in life, for you to be the empathetic listening ear. No woman's going to
let me interrupt you there, Allan. No, I need you, Brian, to be the guy that I can complain to about the asshole that's fucking the shit out of me. I want you to be that guy.
Exactly. So yeah, they when you start talking about alpha males and beta males in the presence of women, or say on Facebook or Twitter, yeah, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say there's no such thing as those categories. That's what a lot of Francesca Ramsey's followers were saying. There's no such thing as alpha male versus beta male. Men are just men, women are just women, and that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Okay, let me do this real quick, brothers. I know, like, we're having a great interview. 210 people. Wow, time is flying. You guys know, actually have another hangout scheduled within the next 10 minutes. So we've been on for how long? About almost what? 80 minutes now? How long have we been on? Anybody know?
Yeah, we started at about 10 after 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been on a little over.
About 7 minutes.
Yeah, you should have scheduled this for a lot longer, O'Shea, because you know Allan Roger Currie ain't never gonna be brief.
I can be brief.
Allan and Obsidian. So I didn't. So usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know. See, at first I didn't know. Well, see, what happened was I figured I could squeeze this other guy. Lucario is coming in for just a brief moment.
I know her screen, Lucario.
Well, bring him in, man. Bring Lucario in, man.
No. We're gonna. He hasn't been introduced to the channel, so I'm gonna bring him in just on his own first, because he has a lot of good stuff. He interviewed Rhyme of the Day, so I wanna introduce people to him, give him his own spotlight first, because I reached out to him last week, and then what we can do is if we come back again now, but before we leave, Allan Roger Currie is doing an awesome job. I just really want to take a time to thank him. Many of y'all know me and Obsidian was beefing last year. It was quite funny at certain parts. But the one person who played a role behind the scenes that was trying to hook us back up was actually Allan Roger Currie. Many people don't know that. And Allan Roger Currie didn't have any vested interest in doing so, and but he really wanted to see the brothers work together. And you can see what we are turning it into now. I mean, wow, a lot of that has to do with Allan Roger Currie. Obsidian brought Allan Roger Currie to my knowledge, and because of Obsidian's knowledge and what I was able to do on YouTube, I was able to retain him. Now it ain't cheap, but it's worth it. Allan Roger Currie is really doing a whole lot of things. You guys can buy that book, The Mode One. What I'm going to start doing is pushing you guys to go to Obsidian's channel. If you are a young brother and you have a problem, I think he does have a particular special going on right now with Obsidian. So we want to direct you to Obsidian's channel to take advantage of that. If you haven't bought the Mode 1 book, the new book, you need to do that. So you guys need to go to Obsidian's channel, go type in Obsidian Podcast, and find out that deal that they have. That means, I believe, if you get like a particular book.
Anybody who buys I have a newly revised, updated version of my original Mode 1 book. Right now it's just available in Kindle format. I would say it's actually closer to my audiobook version than the original Mode 1 is. Because if anybody's listened to my Mode 1 audiobook, they'll see that it's kind of different than my original ebook and paperback was. So this new Kindle ebook, I would say, is number one, closer to the audiobook version. And it just came out a few weeks ago. It actually hit number one for a couple of days. It was number one, well, not of all books on Amazon, but Amazon has books in specific categories. Like they have dating category, interpersonal relations category. The category mine was number one is communication skills. It was number one in communication skills. So the deal is, if you purchase that book and then you write me an email and tell me that you heard about, well, initially I was going to say you heard about through Obsidian, but since we're on your show, say I say if you heard about it through O'Shea or Obsidian Show, then what I'm doing is giving guys I offer email consultations to guys. So I'm giving a free 5 exchange email consultation with anybody. But you have to show me some type of proof of purchase that you purchased my newly revised Kindle ebook. And speaking of that, just because it's called a Kindle ebook, a lot of people ask me, hey man, I don't have a Kindle. You can download Kindle ebooks to any device. You can download them to your smartphone, your laptop, desktop, tablet. So you don't have to have the actual Amazon Kindle device to read the ebook.
This is what I want to do, Allan. I don't know I know you're a very busy person, but what I'd like to do is a block party for your book on this channel. And what we'll do is we're going to get the around. Yeah, so it's going to be a big hangout, right? It'll be a gang of people here.
Okay.
And the goal of that hangout is to get Allan Roger Currie's books to sell. All right. So we'll just dedicate that whole, and you know me, I love to make niggas buy shit when it comes to to Allan Roger Currie books. Don't fuck with me.
I want to give you kudos, O'Shea. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but to O'Shea's listeners, I want to thank you all, because the last 2 times, this is my 3rd time being interviewed by O'Shea. The first 2 times when he promoted my book, because I track my sales, so I can tell when I've gotten what's known as a spike. And both times I was on O'Shea's show, my shit spiked. So yeah, I appreciate you, man, as well as Obsidian too. Obsidian is contributing to a couple of spikes I've had. And so yeah, man, that means that people listen to you, that when you told them to buy, they went ahead. And matter of fact, a lot of guys will write me. They say, yeah, man, I heard about you from O'Shea's show. Like with Obsidian, I have guys that say, yeah, I heard about you from Obsidian's show. So yeah, I appreciate both of you all trying to help me enhance my sales, because yeah, I want people to have my knowledge. But you know, as I went on a little rant on one of my own videos, be killing me, writing me, yeah, Allan, man, you know, yeah, I got this situation. My girl like left me like 3 weeks ago, and I'm trying to get it back. So like, you know, what can you tell me? I'm like, brother, I ain't gonna give you no detailed reply to that, and you ain't paid for no consultation. Oh man, I thought you was cool, man. I thought you was, you know, hook me up.
Get what you pay for, fellas. You get what you pay for. It's that simple. You want a good quality of life, you got to be willing to ante up. It's that simple. It really is.
Well, before I go, shout out to my man Chris Jones, Pump Chasers. I was telling Allan Roger Currie about him before you came on. He came on and did an interview with this channel, and he has a billion subscribers. He got more subscribers than they got people in China. And he came on and did a 2-hour hangout chat. So he's actually listened to this interview. So shout out to Chris Jones and those of you who participated in the giveaway that we did for his t-shirt company, our Pump Chasers brand. So what I want to do, brothers, is listen, I'm coming right back. Everybody in the chat, okay? I'm coming right back. We're coming back with Lucario, why women think you're creepy. So be on the lookout in about 2 minutes. And what I want to do is bring Obsidian back. I don't know, Allan Roger Currie, and Allan Roger Currie, Obsidian, and maybe a few other guests. And what we're going to do is stream a block party for a few hours. And the whole goal is we're trying to sell 20 Mode 1 books.
I'm down for that. I'm down. Mode 1!
There's gonna be a bunch of shit talking. I'm gonna see if we can get Chris to come on and jump in. We're gonna be talking a lot of shit. I'm gonna be cussing a bunch of. I'm gonna be roasting niggas in the chat. It's gonna be really crazy. So thank you, brothers, for coming in. I'm sorry to cut it short, but I did promise.
Yeah, let's do this on the other side. Yeah, definitely.
And what we'll do is we're gonna do this whole thing, right? We're gonna dedicate it to Allan Roger Currie, and we're gonna promote Obsidian promote, and we're gonna try to make it on this channel for a live stream. And I think we're gonna have a hell of a time. What you guys think?
Well, I'm down.
Yeah,
hey, Allan,
cool.
you down? Yeah, good. We'll come back. We'll reconvene in about 5 minutes.
Okay, so so if you guys want to listen to the interview with Lucario, and maybe if you know at a certain point we can all talk, I don't think you'll have a problem with it. But you guys, we'll be right back within 1 minute on a new hangout. So once again, thank you Obsidian, thank you Allan Roger Currie. Both of you are the you know two of the most talented writers that we have at the Negro Manosphere. There would be no Negro Manosphere without Mumia Ali and without Allan Roger Currie. It just wouldn't. We wouldn't have a site. So thank you guys for what you do. And
now, O'Shea, real quick, I gotta let you know, I almost had somebody call you, O'Shea, just so I could see you react like, who the fuck is this calling me?
and by the way, these two people take up the most. These two people on right now is when you guys donate to Negro Manosphere. This is who you paying. You paying Allan Roger Currie. You paying Obsidian Ali. So these are the two most highest paid writers that we have on the site. But as you can see, well worth it. So keep supporting, man. You guys have actually what we have right now going on the Patreon is what pays these two brothers' salaries, right? So it's because of you we're able to get a professional person like Allan Roger Currie. You know, we have and we have a professional person like Mumia Ali. No other black male website has two powerful writers, like especially for Allan Roger Currie. So we thank you for the work that you've been doing, man. We'll get together and schedule that block party, and we're gonna sell a lot of fucking books. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank
you so much.
All right, brother.
Let me know when you're ready. Are you available next Saturday? I don't know. I know you're so damn busy.
Me? Oh no, next Saturday I got a one-on-one coaching session, so I won't be available next Saturday. But
okay.
I think I'll be available 2 weeks from today.
Okay. 2 Saturdays from today.
Let me say this real quick before we roll, man, because Deborah Delk said something I just wanted to respond to real quick that's in line with what we talked about this whole thing. Deborah Delk said compartmental perfect is the best of both worlds. Deborah, you ain't never lied there. Let's be clear about something. Like we've been saying, women want both alpha males and beta males. They want the alphas for the sexual companionship. They want the betas for the non-sexual companionship. That's not the problem. The problem is that women are duplicitous and deceptive and dishonest about the fact that they want both. If a woman says, you know, like they do in the porn thing, they got a hot wife and they got his beta husband and she brings in an alpha male dude just to fuck, and she makes it clear that that's going to be the arrangement, and her husband signs on to that, you'll get no argument from me on that. Of course, I ain't ever going to do nothing like that. You can forget that shit. But they have a right to do it. Deborah, is that a lot of women won't be upfront and straightforward. So this is the reason why, you know, Allan has gotten this question before. Is there such thing as a female mode 1? My response to that question is no.
Okay, so listen. Thank you guys. He's waiting on me right now to start. So I'll chat with you guys later. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Peace.